By the way, people, my neighbor friend 100% was agreeing with me, like saying stuff even before I did, but but he was like, well, he can't imagine that Auntie got permanent, that would ever happen, that family, no matter what, I mean, everyone's innocent till proven guilty, and I should have a chance to defend myself or to contest the guardianship or whatnot. But Auntie would know I would never do that, because he suggested that I do it out of spite. He's like, well, why don't you just let the government take over? Why don't you because I mean, we already know that I wouldn't get it, so I wouldn't be doing it because I would get it. It would be out of spite, sure, purely out of spite. I wouldn't do that. Because I just wouldn't do that. Like I said, if Auntie puts my mom in a nursing home, my mom who hates my guts, or if the government does, there's no difference to me whatsoever. But I would never start like causing trouble out of spite, because even if my mom's illness has caused her to hate my fucking guts or whatever, the mom who loved me was really, really good to me. And I won't have her going into a nursing home as a ward of the state and knowing that I caused it. I would never, ever, ever do that. Ever, ever, ever. And yeah, I took the money from that joint account because I was hoping my mom, once she was well, if she got well, would change her mind, have a change of heart, and let me keep the money she told me I could have. Because remember, she told me I could have half the total money in the bank. That would have been, we had 16, including my most recent check. We had total, it would just be adding up at that moment what we had in the bank, which was like $16,000, and then $5,000 from the 401k for Omar's cataract surgery. And we actually had it arranged to get $5,000 from the 401k for Omar's cataract surgery. This is when I was, going to leave, because my mom thinks she can live alone. And we had arranged for that. We had called up. We were going to get $5,000 because they have to send the RMD anyway, so we were going to get an extra $3,000. And then we had no reason to do that because we were talking about selling the house, moving away, entertaining that notion of a new start somewhere. I told Selena all about it, but my mom's like, I doubt it will happen. I'm not allowing myself to even get any kind of hopes up or whatnot, but I did tell Selena about my mom's stuff, and we were going to go see the lawyer, etc. But anyway, this isn't about me ever thinking that I would fight it or whatnot. It's just the sneaky way it was done. It's the underhanded, the sneaky way it was done. The fact that I was doing everything in my power to try to help my mom, save my mom, and there are people who know that. There was more than one professional who knows that. The lawyer knows that. Her primary care physician knows. You know what I mean? I was doing everything. In the hospital, that aide standing outside of the door witnessed the whole thing. My mom absolutely hating me, saying she will never forgive me. Was she saying she hates me and will never forgive me because I'm verbally abusive to her? No. And I hadn't been at all. At all. Okay? I know what went down here. I wasn't verbally abusive to her at all. Okay? We all know I've lost my cool in the past, but it's not all the time. And when the elder services came that first time, that was from before. That's why they said, because remember, my mom went into back-to-back hospitals. We're talking 6-7 weeks between being in the hospital for weeks, each one, plus the time you spend in the regular hospital waiting for a bed. So when they came by that day that my mom screamed at them, "Get the fuck away from me, I have nothing to say to you," whatever, and slammed the door in their faces, okay? which I knew she couldn't do. That would, if she does that, that's why we sought out a lawyer immediately, because I'm like, Mom, you can't do that. You can't. And the lawyer gently explained to her, yeah, if you don't talk to these people, they don't know you're not tied up in the basement or something, figuratively speaking, because we don't have a basement. But you know what I mean? They don't know if you won't talk to them. But she had nothing to say to them, okay? So she did that. And I feared, oh, fuck, they're going to start something new, blah, 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 whatever. She slammed the freaking door in their faces, as you know, because I told you when it happened. We saw our lawyer immediately, okay? And he wound up smoothing things over. Because what happened was she slammed the door in their faces on a Thursday, right? And then on a Monday, they called again. We've received a new report. I'm like, holy fucking and we just want to talk to you, make sure everything's okay. We've received a new report. I'm thinking, remember I was pulling, I'm like, what report? I don't do anything. What could this possibly be? And I had no idea, and I'll never know, okay? So I'm like, this is ridiculous. So she hung up the phone. I have nothing to say to you guys. The reason I know what they said is because they left a message. See, they left a message afterwards. Mrs. So-and-so, we know you don't want to talk to us, but we did receive another report, and we need to talk to you, make sure everything's okay before we kind of drop the case. Okay, and I played that all for my lawyer. We went and saw our lawyer immediately, recommended by my neighbors down the street, neighbor friends, okay? And the lawyer got it straightened out. My mom, he got it straightened out. He said, yeah, I met them in person, and you know, my mom, I call her Samantha, I could call her anything. Say Megan. My mom, you know, said she loves her daughter, wants to be with her daughter, there's no problem, blah, 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 blah. And that was true, you know. She doesn't want to talk to them. And he told me, I said, well, did you find out who? He's like, no, they can't do that. They would start a war. They couldn't tell me. All they said was they'd had some reports that you were verbally abusive to her, and that you were emotionally unstable. So they had two different reports. And he said, yeah, I just told, and he's like, yeah, someone probably witnessed it if you got into a fight, or blah, 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 blah. He smoothed it over. Okay. And that was all she wrote. But my mom, from day one that she got out of that hospital, was, and Selena can vouch for this, because she's friends with my mom and friends with me, so my mom said it was filled just with anger or whatever, over the fact that I have to make sure she takes her meds, and that I've had to call 911 and have her put in the mental hospital. She hates anyone that's had to put her in the mental hospitals. Because when Selena told me that, I'm like, well, I've not had a choice. And Selena's like, I know, but that's, your mom's just filled with whatever, okay? And even when we went and saw the lawyer, which she agreed was necessary, you know, she doesn't, I got her to understand it's necessary. She just thinks she can slam the door in their faces and they'll go away. She wasn't returning the calls of her mental health worker either. It doesn't work that way. If you don't talk to these people, they're going to think something's major wrong. So the lawyer smoothed it all over, and everything was fine. But my mom was being very, very difficult. And I was not at all, wasn't getting on her case, yelling at her, nothing, okay? She would, like I said, she would just stay in her bedroom. She didn't want me to really go near her. She wasn't walking the dogs with me. She wasn't going anywhere, by the way, okay? So it's not like, I'm just going to get to the point here. It's not like after the lawyer smoothed stuff over, there's not like there was any other incident or whatnot, okay? That, because when she screamed at me in public, the 3 times I told you that she screamed at me, I didn't react at all. So nobody could have called all the services on me. I didn't react at all. I've learned my lesson to not even, because she'll make stuff up. Look, she calls an old coworker from 8 years ago and who doesn't know, she's been in and out of mental hospital, she's going to act like I'm a monster. She's trying to get sympathy. And then when the elder services called here, she didn't even know who she was talking to, and then when she realized, like, I don't want to talk to you people, you're not getting my house, that's going to my daughter, you know, screaming at the top, and then the cop says, you guys know we're here in 5 minutes. Like, they were here like that, okay? But that just proves to you, she says all this stuff and doesn't realize people are going to hear it and think horrible, horrible things about me that are not true, okay? She fabricates. She doesn't say the truth. You know? She doesn't let me walk Omar. Yeah, with valid reasons. I used to let you walk alone. I used to let you walk Omar alone. I still let you take him out in the yard. But no, you're not walking him alone. I can't stop you from what you're doing with your dog. The neighbors saw you this past before she wanted that's what the that in between time. Walking Angel in the street. He told me he saw you doing it and he joked with you, whatever, June, get out of the street with your dog. So I'm justified in not having her walk Omar. And Omar is very strong, and you can be nonchalant and not holding the leash tightly enough to forget or whatever, and he can, you've got to be careful with him, and he's my dog, and I have a right to protect him from what I see as my, sick mom who, it only takes one thing, and my dog will be in the street, get away from her and be dead. So I had a right to do that, but co-worker from 8 years ago, she wants to cling to this time, my mom, where you'd think, remember, I woke up hearing her crying, that was from that whole, I'm not going to repeat the whole night before, some of you know what had happened, what went down, okay? And yeah, I was very upset with her, justifiably. But I have to remind you, yelling to her is simply if I express displeasure with her behavior, okay? I'm not actually yelling, like, what are you doing? No, it's just a raised tone of voice, displeasure, okay? Like what happened when I was in absolute shock, found out accidentally that she had taken her dog outside without a leash. And then I couldn't get her to understand. That's what frustrates me. I could not get her to understand. It's like a little kid and you can't get them to understand whatever. Think of something that could really be endangered. You can't get a little kid to understand if a stranger offers you candy, don't take it. I couldn't get her to understand how dangerous that was, what she had done. Why? She just walked beside me. It's no big deal. Yeah, Mom. And I'm afraid she'll do it with Omar, too. I'm not here 24/7, This had happened when she was home with Omar, too, and I said to her, I was like shaking, I'm like, you didn't do that with Omar, did you? She's like, no. I'm like, Mama, he cannot do that. But she doesn't want to hear anything. You understand? I'm assigned as her caregiver. She doesn't want to hear anything I have to say. Okay? Do you know what that does to me? And I'm, Mom, you can't. I said, Mom, Angel has run away. She just walked beside me. It was no big deal. I know. But just because she did that then, it was because she didn't see an animal or another, or, see a person or an animal or whatever. Remember when she got away from you years ago because you weren't holding the leash tightly enough, even though I had trained you to hold the leash tightly for her and Omar? But it doesn't matter because you can't reason with her because she's very sick. Okay? But I just want to stress, yelling is not actual yelling. It's expressing displeasure in a raised tone of voice. Okay? Rather than just, because she's not listening, she's not getting it, and I don't want to see her dog get killed, and her, you know what I mean? That's a big deal. Things like, was it irritating to me? Okay, I need to open up something. Where are the scissors? Because I live here, I'm a roommate. Okay, Mom, where are the scissors? I don't know. I don't have them. I'm like, Mom, you're the one that cuts up magazines with the scissors. I don't have them. They're gone. Buy a new pair. Can I look for them? No. They're not here. Well, guess what? I found them instantly. They were like right there. Remember, something's missing, something's whatever. That's frustrating. That is frustrating. I know that I would find in 2 seconds what she will not allow me to find. That was her latest thing. If she couldn't find something in past months, past years, but now it's like she wants to pretend nothing's wrong, that she's not showing any signs of dementia, forget whatever. And just as an aside, I got a thing that you can be vitamin B deficient, and all the signs that vitamin B deficiency has the same signs as if someone has dementia. all those things. That's what they say. You might think someone has dementia and they're really deficient in vitamin B. When you get older, you can't process vitamin. So B12, I'm sorry. But anyway, that was interesting. But anyway, you know what I mean? That's frustrating. And then she says, buy a new pair. That's not the point. Like, she won't let me look for them, and I knew if I looked that they would be right there. And that's the thing with the leash. I had gone out that night, okay? I was been sleeping on the couch. She was in the morning. I forget what happened, but she said something about the leash, or I saw her, I don't know. I was happened to be out there, and she doesn't have the leash, and then I'm like, well, how, if you don't have the leash, because I knew she had it last, I'm like, how did you take the dogs out last night? And that's when she told me, I took Angel out without a leash. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Yeah, I was upset. And I had an appointment that day. And she'd be here all day with both dogs, so I found, oh, by the way, I found the leash instantly that she couldn't find. It was right there in front of, as usual, it was right there in front of her face where she'd put it. I hadn't put it there. It was right there on the bureau in the whatever. But she had put it there and then forgot she put it there. So I had to say, Mom, I had to put my foot down. You cannot take these dogs out without a leash. Whatever you do, don't do that, okay? So she had the leash when I left that day. She had like both leashes. But I found out that night that she just let the dogs go in the bathroom on the floor all day long. She didn't take them out because she knew how upset I was, and you know. But she lost the leashes again and just didn't take them out all day long. Because I'm like, you didn't take them out without a leash, right? Because I came home that night because I'm gone all day, you know. If I have an appointment for whatever, it's an all-day thing, you know. Public transportation, it's an all-day thing, and yeah, she lost the leashes again. But as I was telling you guys, she wanted no witnesses to anything. So just the fact that I'm here and witnessing ridiculous shit like her losing stuff and it's right in front of her face, she wanted no part of that. That's why she wouldn't. If she can't find something, it's not there. It's gone. Things go missing. They disappear. Things disappear. That's her big thing when she's sick. Okay, which we know is an impossibility. Things don't just disappear. She loses them, can't find them, and often, so many times, they're right in front of her face. Okay. So yeah, I have not even remotely been perfect in the past, admittedly, but I have learned. So this last time, I was walking on eggshells, I was whatever. You think the 3 times she went off on me in public screaming, I responded screaming? No, I didn't even raise my voice. Didn't even say anything. Those 3 times. Didn't even respond, okay? So, and she wasn't going anywhere, wasn't around people, we weren't going anywhere to get whatever, okay? So, when Auntie gives her little now, she threw it in for good measure. She's like, yeah, I became your mom's guardian and conservator. That way, she can't refuse to seek medical help, and she has to take her meds, blah, 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 whatever. And then she threw in also, elder services were called on you again, and I didn't want a repeat of 2014, so the hospital told them I was seeking guardianship, and they agreed to back off as long as I was doing that. Elder services was not called on me again unless the hospital and Auntie were in cahoots to call them, okay? Because there was no other thing, you understand? When the lawyer talked to me about the reports, I'm like, did you find out specifics? No, they won't get specifics. They just said there were 2 reports that you were verbally abusive to her. That was the prior one with when she called that coworker, and of course the coworker is going to think all kinds of things. 7 in the morning, it's got to give you an indication, but she gets that call, and of course she's going to think all kinds of stuff. And my mom doesn't do that thinking anyone's going to call elder service. She just wants sympathy, you understand? She picked something from her book, from a coworker, from over, you know, she hasn't worked in all these years. It's not a friend that calls all the time. It's someone that doesn't know me from Adam, doesn't know everything I've done for my mom, doesn't know that I saved her life living, you know what I mean? Nothing. So, no, Auntie threw that in, but it's a bunch of hooey. Okay? When my mom started hating me was when I told her the money was gone. But she had been like that with me just in general, you know? I mean, we discussed how her friend that she stopped wanting to be friends, one that I don't like, the husband died and he had major health problems, but he also, you know, smoked and ate, whatever, you know, he was not a healthy living individual even after. He's like one of those people where they have heart attacks and they continue to eat or smoke, whatever, when they know, you know, like Hope's took care of this guy who he's on a breathing machine or something and still smoking cigarettes, something like that, okay? So, people who still do that even though they know that it's a death sentence. But when I was saying that, she's like, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're so perfect. We were on the train on the way to go visit our friend in the nursing home, which of course was horrible for me because I was imagining a future when I'd be visiting my mom in a nursing home, you know, but I did that for her because, oh my God, you don't even know where she was going and how far, and she wanted to go alone. She was pissed off at me because I was insisting on going places with her that I'm not a babe, she wants to go alone, and I know that she can't. That's the thing, I know that she can't. So all these things indicate that, yeah, she needs a guardian that can tell her what to do and not, you know. But the way this was done, the sneaky, underhanded way, the fact that I was set up to take the fall, Auntie swoops in to save the day when she wanted no part of anything, you know, and my mom hated me or whatnot. So anyway, so she just was, you know, even though we'd seen the lawyer and got the you know, the Ellis's off our backs, which was good, and she was talking about putting the house in my name, and et cetera, We were talking about me being her paid caregiver, I told you, like he suggested. So that was all fine and good. But it's not like we're getting along wonderful, and it's not like it has anything to do with me. It's in her mind that, like I said, she doesn't want witnesses to anything, and I'm walking on eggshells with her, doing everything for her, but she's just being pissy and whatnot, you know, so. But that, when she said, I hate you, hated you my whole life, whatever, that was, the catalyst to that was when I told her that a lot of the money was gone. And again, she can't just decide, she never wants to, cares about the money, she just because she doesn't know what stuff costs or whatnot, you know. She can't just decide after the fact, oh, well, you took all my money, or, you know, but in her mental illness she can, okay? So, now she's hating me, now what do I do? Now I'm terrified. She's hating me, wants me to move out, etc., etc. What do I do? That's when I was crying to the lawyer again on my own. What can we do? Blah, blah, blah. And then he suggested, you know, because I'm like, I know for a fact she can't live alone. She wants me out of here. She's going to wind up a ward of the state. I talked to her primary care physician about that. And I talked to her, my lawyer about that, everything, right? Still desperately trying to prevent her from becoming a ward of the state. Doesn't matter if she hates my fucking guts. I love her. I don't want to see her become a ward of the state, period. Doing everything in my power, okay? Everything in my power. And still cooking, you know, not yelling at her, nothing. I didn't at all, okay? Remember, all of her screaming at me at the top of her lungs and thing with Angel all was prior to her, I hate you, I've hated you my whole life, and I have it on tape. Why do you hate me? Because you hate me, I don't hate you, I love you, you know what I mean? So, who knows? She's not doing well, you know what I mean? And she's not going to grasp the concept, besides, you know, that this was not, and it was with Auntie's blessing. This was not her money, my money, or whatnot. Hence why Auntie had joked, handed over the money after she escaped from the skin of her teeth from having to pay back that over $50,000 to them. If they had taken over, they were going after her, okay? But I didn't join forces with her to protect her. I joined forces with her because they wanted to put my mom in a nursing home, period. I didn't join forces with her to protect my so-called rightful inheritance. I joined forces with her because they wanted to put my mom in a nursing home as a ward of the state. Remember, that was just an intolerable thought to me, okay? So she's hating me, I'm packing. That's why I haven't slept in my room in months. Everything's piled up in there, and I got boxes from Walmart twice, and I've been packing and doing whatever. Okay, I'm going to leave. Then I make her go to the grocery store on her own because, remember, she gets a ride there, but she goes, I said, Mom, you want me to move out? You think you can live alone, so why not have a trial where you at least go to the grocery store by yourself? Now, I don't know what happened at the grocery store. I didn't ever get anything for me, so she got normal stuff. It's not some special thing she had to go search for, the stress her out or whatever. But she obviously, for whatever reason, because remember, after she said she hated me, it's hated me her whole life. It's not like I was, no. I was still doing exactly what I was doing, talking gently to her, cooking, keeping the house clean, making her meals. Do you want this to eat? Mama, it's time for dinner. I made dinner, blah, blah, whatever. Okay. And she was, as far as I knew, taking her meds and going to bed every night. That was a big thing. She was taking her meds. She was going to bed every night. She was sleeping through the night. Okay, so then the day she comes to me, and the day that grocery store, right? That she'd gone to the grocery store by herself, and sits down, as you guys know, because I was so happy I told you guys this, and Laura, I've been doing, Laura, I've decided that I don't hate you. I've decided that I do love you, and I don't want you to move out, and we're really good for each other. We help each other, etc., etc. And I just said to her, I was laying on the couch watching TV, I go, well, what changed your mind? She's like, well, I did a lot of thinking, last night, and whatever. She was like, I've been doing a lot of thinking yesterday, today, last night, and I'm like, okay, well, that's good. I was happy to hear that, as you guys know. Okay. So now we've got a whole change. A whole change where she doesn't hate me anymore. She doesn't want me to move out, so we can go back to the original thing with her, which would make sense, putting her house in my name with the stipulation that she can live there and I'll be there. You know what I mean? It makes sense for any kid, any parent to put in that situation, put in their kid's name that's disabled, kid's disabled, because instead of, if the person ever winds up in a home, a nursing home, the government's not going to take the home, so the parent who loves the kid has given that permanent, cemented that it can never be taken away from the kid who's disabled. So, we had that set up, and so I contacted the attorney, and I was like, yeah. So remember, I'd gone to him crying when she was hating me. I don't want to run, what can we do? And remember, I talked to the person from assisted living. Maybe she wants to go into assisted living. I talked to the person about guardianship because, why don't you seek guardianship over her, and then you'd be able to put her somewhere and it won't be up to her. And then I'm like, well, I think she would fight it. And my lawyer was like, well, I don't think she'd fight it. She'd be in any case. Well, we won by the skin of her teeth last time, and she knows she can fight it. She's, you know what I mean? So that was up in the air. But then then the person about the guardianship, that I'd had an initial consultation with him, that my lawyer in the same building referred me to his colleague, and I said, yeah, no, we're not interested in that right now, to put that on the back burner. My mom doesn't hate me anymore, so that's that. So then everything was, but this all was in a short time frame, okay? This happened and then whatever, and I can give you exact dates, but anyway, so that was that progression of events. My mom doesn't hate me anymore. I'm telling you guys online, my mom doesn't hate me anymore. I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. And Karen wrote, that must have made you so happy that your mom had that insight that she doesn't hate you anymore, blah, 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 whatever. So we had an appointment to see the lawyer on a Monday. I was trying to get for Thursday or Friday, but he couldn't really, so I was like, okay, well, Monday's fine. It wouldn't have mattered even Thursday or Friday, because my mom, which this was not normal for her. You have to understand, her breakdowns, as I've told you, are always manic. They're always just, she's high on life. Her breakdowns are manic. They're not depressing. They're not and she had been crying literally nonstop for days. every time I turned around, she was crying, okay? She wouldn't tell me what was wrong. She was crying, and she'd say, oh, I'm crying because she'd listen to music all the time, the music is sad, or this, that, or whatever, but she was crying and wouldn't tell me what was wrong, and I was really, really worried. And I'm thinking, you know, it might be because she's realizing what these meds are doing to her. She's realizing her signs that, like Auntie had told me one time in the court, you know, my Auntie was noticing stuff. He's like, yeah, you know, they, as in people who are showing signs of dementia, forgetfulness, all this crap, they know before we do, okay? So don't think Auntie's not aware of all this. She is, okay? She knows. She knows. She also knows that 2 months ago, when I'm all upset that they're releasing my mom, discharging my mom too soon in this hospital, and Auntie's upset too, and then she's like, well, she just washes her hands of it. She belongs in a nursing home. Okay, Auntie, she belongs in a nursing home. You just put that out there as this declaration, and how the hell is that supposed to happen? You've given up. You have nothing to do with anything. So what? I'm supposed to go and become her guardian and put her in a nursing home? You know, like I said, Auntie wanted nothing to do with anything. She sets me up to take the fall and then swoops in to save the day. And that's what's rotten about all of this, okay? So, my mom had been crying for days and wouldn't tell me what was wrong. And because we had that history with that lithium toxicity thing, and that was something seriously wrong, I was scared for her. Then she had a dentist appointment on Wednesday. I said, you going to your dentist appointment, right? You have your dentist appointment. I'm going to my dentist appointment. Then she proceeds to do what she had not done. Remember, this is weeks into when she got discharged too soon from that other hospital, but she hadn't been right from day one, because it's not normal for her to be having public outbursts and screaming at me at the top of her lungs. Okay? Not because I've provoked her or anything, you know, not anything that this isn't a fight, this is her having a temper tantrum, basically, an adult temper tantrum. Crying for days. So Tuesday night, Wednesday she was supposed to go to her dentist. Tuesday night, she proceeds to plop down in the chair, and remember, I've been sleeping on this couch. She wouldn't go to bed, which is fine, whatever, she could stay up. But then, it's getting later and later, and I want to go to bed, and I'm like, well, you got to take your meds, you know. So as far as I knew, she took them. Remember, we find out later she hadn't been taking them, but we don't know for how long. And if she's tricking me, I don't sit there and watch her. I don't watch her swallow down every pill. I don't, I trust that she knows to take them, or she knows what will happen. She knows the end result is she'll be wound up in the mental hospital again. So I was trusting her. She hates if I treat her like a baby, so I was not going to sit there and watch her swallow. I did sometimes. Sometimes I would watch her, but a lot of times I didn't. So she stays up, and then I said, you take your meds? Yeah, I took my meds. And I looked, and they were gone from the blue thing, so I'm like, okay, she took her meds. Why are they not knocking her out? She's on powerful sleep meds. She's on 50 milligrams of trazodone. She's on Ativan. She's on Remeron, and they all promote sleep. Why is she not knocking out? Finally, it's like 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning. She was still up. I said, Mom, if you're not going to go to bed, I'm going to sleep in your bed. I have to sleep. I have to get up. The woman who takes care of Angel was taking me to get Omar's nails done. I said, Mama, you're going to stay up, then I'm going to sleep in your bed. Go ahead, sleep in my bed. I mean, you can sleep on the couch if you ever go to sleep. I don't know how long I went in her room, put earplugs in, and that was all she wrote. Because she was coming, that was all she wrote, and I slept like 3 to 8. Because remember, I was sleeping, hoping my mom would go to bed. She didn't. It was 3 in the morning, she was still up. Still up watching TV, wide awake, and I'm thinking to myself, why aren't the meds knocking her out? So when I woke up that morning, she was curled, she was on the couch. I'd given her pillow and a blanket, so she was on the couch, sound asleep. But I had told her the night before, I'm like, well, you can stay up all night, but you still have to go to your dentist appointment, Mom, okay? And she promised me she'd go to her dentist appointment. Took Angel to get his nails cut, came home, and Mom's still asleep on the couch, and now it's late, and they're going to be coming for her to take her to her dentist appointment. Mom, you got to get up and go to your dentist appointment. Remember, I'd already been concerned because she's crying for days. I don't know what's wrong. And I'm thinking there could be something physically wrong with her because she'll just say, I don't feel good. Why do you mean? I just don't feel good. She's my elderly mom. She's, you know, we have a history of her not being afraid of the doctors. I'm not going to sit here and, even if it's figurative, let her die in front of me. So I don't feel good, and this had been building up for days. It wasn't a sudden thing. I would never call 911 at the first sign of anything. It's when it doesn't stop, and I'm really genuinely afraid, you know? If I was a selfish bitch, we had an appointment with this was on a Wednesday, we had an appointment with the lawyer on Monday, I would have just said, well, she's all right. She says, I'm not going to call 911, I want to get our asses to the lawyer so she can put their house in my name. No. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put my own selfish needs ahead. I was concerned for her, and that's it, period. Okay? And it turned out I was justified in being concerned. It didn't turn out that nothing was wrong, see? So, I come home. Mom, you got to get up and go to your dentist appointment. You only have a little time to get ready. They're going to be coming. She wouldn't even acknowledge my existence. Eyes tightly closed, curled up on the couch, eyes tightly closed, wouldn't acknowledge. Mom, please, you're scaring me. You promised me you go to the dentist. Please get up and go to the dentist. Okay? She wouldn't budge, wouldn't move. Remember, I was already afraid for her, but I don't want to, you know, wouldn't budge, wouldn't move. So I gave her an out. Maybe she's just being stubborn. Mama, if you don't get up now, you're really scaring me. If you don't get up now, I'm going to have no choice but to call 911. I'm afraid for you. Still, eyes tightly closed, not acknowledging my existence. But after I said that, she said, no, don't call 911, okay? You have to understand, this had been building up. I was already afraid. I was afraid something was physically wrong. Turned out I was right. She had a very bad UTI. Okay? But she was also not taking her meds, and we don't know for how long. Okay? And she was tricking me because they were gone from the blue container where I'd set them up for her. And that was what, and then, then I called 911, but I refused to call Psych 911. I refused to do that. I called Medical 911. I was still doing everything in my power, you know, to what I've been doing all along since she was discharged too soon from that other hospital. That's why I met with her primary care physician 4 days after she was discharged. You know, this isn't benefiting her. She keeps getting thrown in these mental hospitals. They've switched the meds around. They discharge her too soon. You know, she's not perfect. They discharge her too soon. Auntie knows it. Auntie says she belongs in a nursing home. Auntie called up and said, is that your best you can do for my sister? Send her elsewhere. They didn't do it. They didn't care. I hate them all. I'm just adding that in. I didn't say that to him, but I'm disgusted. I didn't say I hate them all. I said I'm disgusted with this. You know, can we try something? So don't send her back to that. She needs to be seeing a real psychiatrist. Don't send her back to the little twit. You don't like her. You've honored my mom when she's complained that she's over-medicated. The little twit doesn't care ever, and that makes my mom feel like, and he knows that, because my mom's cried to him, and my mom has come home from that and seen the little twit and cried to me, okay? And I don't like her, and I can't have any kind of conversation with her, even though my mom signed her release. She just says, they know mental hospital, do whatever the mental hospital doctor says is best, Lauren. Oh, fuck you, you know, ugh. And even though, so we were trying, and we got into an emergency thing, we were going to try to get her back to that psychiatrist she used to see for years and years before moving here. And then it was too difficult to get to him, but she liked him. We were trying, so all that I was trying to do, okay? Remember, I'm doing all of this. What is Auntie doing? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All on my shoulders. All my responsibility, okay? So now I had to call 911. Medical. They took her, but because she has a history with psych meds or whatnot, they had her in psych. But again, and then I stayed all day there. I stayed all day with. I didn't go to the ambulance. They didn't let me, but I took the taxi there. I stayed all day with her, and I found out by the blood work that before I left, I found out that she wouldn't drink anything. Oh, that was another thing. I couldn't get her to drink enough fluids. Okay? That again, I'm trying to protect her. I know she needs to drink enough fluids. So if she's going to hate me and say whatever, that's not verbal abuse. It's dealing with a petulant child who has to drink enough fluids and won't do it because she doesn't want to pee. You know, she's on these psych meds. I'm trying to save my mother. You know? But my mother, who's sitting there and hating my guts because I called 911 on her because I felt I had no choice, is going to say anything against me, you know? But I know, that's why I'm saying, for Auntie to say, oh, there was another report. There was no other report. You're in cahoots with the hospital. There was another report. It was the hospital calling them because of whatever my mom's saying against me, taking as the gospel truth, whatever. You know what I mean? But there was no other report from anybody in the outside world. That would have been impossible because there was no incidents in the outside world between me and my mom. You understand? She wasn't even leaving the house. When I say she wasn't leaving the house, she wasn't leaving the house. We weren't going anywhere together, so there couldn't have been any other friggin' report about anything. And I hadn't done anything wrong, even on my own, that would be perceived as whatever. There wasn't any other report. Auntie just threw that in for good measure. Also, that's why my neighbor said, yeah, she called it. And if she didn't, they were in cahoots, her and the hospital. So her to throw in there was another report, and Elder Services involves a bunch of hooey. Because there were nothing. You understand? There was no way there could be another report. The lawyer had taken care of any past reports, and there were no incidences between me and my mom in public or whatnot. There wasn't anything. The only other report could have been filed by hospital staff, you know, with Auntie's blessing or whatnot, to have be all in cahoots for her to get guardianship. Okay? That it definitely wasn't someone in the outside world that witnessed something happen between my mom. It couldn't have been. It was an impossibility. Okay? There wasn't anything, and I know that for a fact. That's why the neighbor said, oh yeah, he said it. If he's like, oh yeah, she says that they were called. No, she called them. If not, you know, when I say she called them, it means she, in cahoots with the hospital, called them or something. It has to have been. The hospital called them based on what my mom was saying. My mom who hates my guts because I had to call 911 on her. See? See what's happening here, people? There was no some outside report from anybody because there were no incidences in public between me and my mom. Nothing. So and then she winds up in the mental hospital, so it had to have been the hospital called them. Just like Auntie had said in the past, when Auntie wasn't was my pseudo friend. Yeah, your mom's she makes me the scapegoat all the time. Like her illness is just totally my fault. I mean, Mom. And like Auntie says, yeah, she says she tells if she'd be fine if I didn't yell at her all the time. I told them she makes up stories, blah blah blah, whatever. We don't want Elder Services involved to get, you know. It's a bunch of hooey. Am I perfect? No. But I was, you know, I was slowly getting a lot better. I'm not perfect, admittedly. Like Karen says, even people when I met with that person who was my advocate that time, and, you know, she's like, who is perfect? But I'm expected to be. I'm held under this microscope where, you know, it's just sickening. But no, there was no outside report. Auntie threw that in for good measure. But you know, in that when she said she says, I see, you know, also they were called again, and it's a bunch of hooey. If they were called by the hospital based on what my mom, who hates my guts, is saying to them. They were not called by anybody on the outside. Believe me, they were not. They were called by the hospital based on what my mom is saying to them about me, which is just sick, because I wasn't doing anything. Okay? This last time, I mean, between that last time and this, no, I wasn't doing anything. But she can say whatever. She's going to say whatever when she hates me. I already told you in the other video what happened in the regular hospital. I was a living, breathing being. You took my life from me. I'll never forgive you this. I don't love you. Okay, so that I don't love you anymore, she's going to say anything against me. Anything at all. To make me the scapegoat, that she'd be fine if it weren't for me. If I, you know, it's a bunch of hooey. But... so that's the lowdown on that, people. And as I already said, of course I would never ever contest this. I can't imagine that it was made permanent, because that's not how the law works. Generally, you know, that she would be able to get permanent guardianship without any family members being notified to contest it. But no one's going to contest it, okay? It's no different to me if Auntie's in charge or the government's in charge. If I contested it, I would never be put in charge. It would be out of spite. I'm not going to do that to my mother. I won't do it to her, period. And that way, also, I'm free and clear. So she can go to her grave hating me, but she's not going to go into a nursing home and know that it was as a ward of the state and know it was because I spitefully contested Auntie's guardianship and then nobody was given guardianship and the state took over. That ain't happening. The government took over. And because of that, so I sought out my lawyer over the week telling everything that happened because I don't know what Auntie's going to do. And then she said she's going to turn the, you know what I mean? I didn't seek out my lawyer that said we're going to fight this. I sought out my lawyer to say everything that happened and how sneaky it was and what she did and to find out the deal with the money that I took. That I legally took from the joint account. That's why I sought out my lawyer. But in the end, as you know, yesterday I got a check, which was just about every penny I had in the bank. I made it out to my mom, not to Auntie. Anything made out to my mom, it's just the principle of the thing is to Auntie, but I didn't make it out to Auntie, I made it out to my mother. And like I said in the other video, I now have 561 to my name, but also remember I was going to fly and visit my friend. I got Omar's ESA letter, got an ESA letter for Omar, but I had set it up to fly, and I had originally didn't know I'd get the ESA letter in time, and I paid the $100, so that's being refunded to me. So I actually have like $661 to me. And it takes they said it'd take 7 to 10 days to get that $100 back, but will come back, you know. And then on the 3rd of January, I'll get another 1,000. Auntie didn't shut anything off, not even the TV and the computer. Don't know why. Don't know if my lawyer talked to Auntie. I didn't get the mail. Like I said, I don't want to get the mail. I didn't even listen to my phone messages. I just don't want to deal with anything. I actually don't even have to talk to my attorney because I just wanted him to advise Auntie of my rights and in this situation. This is not me planning on fighting any of this. This is maybe he can convince her that it would behoove her to not treat me like total shit because I could cause trouble. You know? I am the legal, you know, I'm the heir, I could cause trouble. You know, so maybe he talked to Auntie, maybe he didn't, I don't know. I haven't even listened to my phone. Like I said, I don't want to deal with it right now. I went to sleep on the couch, fell asleep watching my 2 broke girls because I got back from the library. I mean, Auntie hasn't shut anything off yet, so taking advantage of it. Yeah, she's giddy with power because it pisses me off, even when she said she's going to shut the heat and electricity off. And I said, you know, if I were you, I would wait till I talk to my attorney and find out what my rights are in this situation. And then I got a text back, you need to put the utilities in your name on Monday. I'm also her conservator, you know, giddy with power. And see, all of that pisses me off. You know, I'm disabled. She does all of this behind my back. And I'm hoping that she either watches my videos and realizes, or, you know, because my neighbor said, like, you know, I'm like, I don't have any money to fight it. I wrote that, I'm giving that, and he says, why do you want to give that money back? You won't have any money. It's not my money. It's not my money. There's nobody that would say it was my money if we pooled our money, but my mom made more every month, and she started off with that $28,000 or $29,000, whatever. It was 27 something, I don't know. I have all the bank statements. It was 27 something that Auntie handed over after we won that long, drawn out bullshit by the skin of our teeth. And then later the conservator turned over one of the bank accounts he hadn't touched, and that was like another $1,200. So, for argument's sake, we'll just say $29,000, whatever. So, if my mom and I were pooling our money, and she gets more every month, and she started off with all that money, then obviously every penny left is you know, technically it's hers. So, even though I could legally take it. But I wasn't listening to my neighbor. He said, I wouldn't do that. You know, so I don't want to do that. It's blood money. It represents my mom hating me. It represents Auntie doing this all behind my back. It represents my mom, like, I was trying everything in my power to try to help her, try to save her, try to keep her from becoming a ward of the state, and this is my reward. I have to have my mom, you know, find out if she revoked the release. Again, don't know if Auntie influenced my mom to revoke the release or my mom revoked the release, but I do know when my mom's revoking the release, it's not because, she's not hating me because I'm going around yelling at her all the time, which I wasn't doing. She's hating me because, as Auntie said, now you know how I felt when I had to put her in the hospital. I became evil, the bad sister. Your mom hates anybody who doesn't go along with the crazy fantasies. She's hating me because I had to call 911, period. She's not hating me because I go around treating her like shit. She knows damn well that I was walking on eggshells and catering to her every woman need, doing everything for her. Okay? Even after she said she hated me, has hated me her whole life, and broke my heart saying that. So like I was like, oh, I hate you too. You're a fuck. No, I was like, why do you, I have it on tape. Why do you hate me? You know. I just asked her softly through her bedroom door why she, you know. So no, she's not hating me because I treat her badly. She's hating me because I called 911 on her. Hence her little, there was nothing wrong with me, and I was taking my meds. When I know for a fact that she had a bad UTI and was not taking her meds. The blood work and urine work don't lie, people. So. But whatever. So that's that. That's what I say, and that's what the neighbors down the street, the one who was saying, your mom belongs somewhere, you gotta do something, Laura, you gotta do something. And I cry to people, Auntie wants nothing to do with this anymore, I'm handling this all on my own, what do I do, what do I do? I've been crying to friends, crying to neighbors, crying to her primary care physician, crying to the lawyer, you know. All those people know that Auntie was out of the picture, wanted nothing to do with anything. You know, she's just a sister, they can go out for breakfast or whatever. Everything's on my shoulders, my responsibility, and then Auntie swoops in to save the day. And that is just rotten any way you look at it, okay? And she gets to smear my name and make me out to be this horrible, horrible person. But I have people on my side, in my camp, who know the fucking truth, including my attorney. And he knows it based on me sitting there crying my eyes out in front of him and writing him a letter that he promised me he would read after I went to him and I said, yeah, my mom hates me. She says she's hated me her whole life. She's going to wind up a ward of the state. She can't live alone. She thinks she can. What can we do? And I'm crying my eyes out. He knows how hard I was trying to help my mom. He knows. He's not the only one that knows, but you know what I mean? That's why these people know. And I know that nobody in the outside world, outside that hospital, called elder services. The lawyer had cleared up any prior complaints. There were no future complaints from anyone in the outside world. It would be an impossibility because there were no public incidences. There was nothing that would cause someone to call elder services. Nothing except the hospital hearing my mom say, blah, 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 you know, hating my guts, and she's going to say blah, 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 whatever. She doesn't like me to tell her to drink enough fluids, you know? It was an impossible situation for me. So Auntie's right. My mom does need a guardian. She needs somebody who can force her to do things she doesn't want to do, all right? But it shouldn't have been done this way. And it shouldn't be that Auntie can waltz into my local post office or my, you know, I mean, and I don't know what she said about me to the banks, I'm sure. Who for all I know, she's just saying she probably is saying horrible things about me. That's just rotten. It's also rotten for her, since my mom had promised me a lot of money, to not let me stay here and save up enough money for me and my dog to get the fuck out of here. That's rotten of her too.
to say I'm shutting off everything and you need to put it all in your name, which basically means I won't be able to save up any money. And then I talked about eviction and whatnot. She's like, who said anything about evicting you? I just said you have to put everything in your name. But I don't want to stay here. What's the plan, Auntie? I'm not even supposed to be here. You know I'm not even supposed to be here. You're still taking my mom into your apartment to try to make her well again. Then why don't you sell her house and give me some money and let me go? Instead of having me go through this torment. Then my friend's like, yeah, but you'll be evicted. That'll be on your record. Won't that prevent you from getting other? Well, I'm not. What can I do? I don't have a penny to my name. Okay? I don't have my penny to my name. I have a dog. If I didn't have a dog, it'd be a different story. I have this dog to take care of. I have to do what I have to do. It's winter, you know? It's winter, I have a dog, I have to do what I have to do. That means I have to sit here and have Auntie go through the court process of evicting me so I can save up my disability check. That's what I have to do, people. Period. It's what I have to do. When I talked to the attorney, I thought that Auntie had to treat this like a tenant. She doesn't. Technically, legally, with her being my mom's guardian, she can come into here at this house whenever she wants to. Whenever she wants to. It's just a bad situation overall. But neither of them are poor. My mom's not poor, and now she has that. My mom's not poor. She has the 60 401k. She has that $15,000 that I just gave back to her. And Auntie's definitely not poor. Okay? I'm in the situation where I don't have a penny to my name. I was my mom's, you know what so that I have to do what I have to do. But don't sit there and think that either Auntie or my mom are even remotely poor. Auntie could let me keep that friggin' $15,000 or $10,000 or whatever and go on my merry way, and it would be nothing. It wouldn't affect their lives in any manner whatsoever. Don't even think anything to the contrary. My mom gets plenty to live on every month, and she also has that backup of that cash in the bank and her 401k. So Auntie doing any of this to me is just out of spite. Well, I could maybe my lawyer talked to her, I don't know, I could be spiteful. I could contest this guardianship. I doubt it was made permanent. I don't think legally they could do that. Not when there's a sole heir, a daughter, I was her health care proxy, I was everything. And I don't think that they could do that. It's just like the government couldn't take over permanent guardianship. The government, when we got that thing in the mail, there was an emergency thing that my mom had been appointed a temporary thing or whatever, and then the judge upheld it. But the government couldn't even take it permanent without having the family be notified. How could Auntie do it? She's just another family member. I have a right to contest it. I'm not going to, but I'm just saying, Auntie should show some compassion. You know? Because my neighbor said, well, why don't you contest it? Why don't you whatever? You could contest it. And I'm like, I don't have any money. He's like, you could say, I have no money, but I want to contest this. I want a friend. And I wouldn't do it. See? I would not do that to my mother. But Auntie needs to realize that. And you guys need to realize neither my mom nor Auntie are even remotely poor. I'm poor. They are not. And I don't deserve this shit. So if Auntie talked to my lawyer or had a change of heart or watched my videos, I don't know. I don't know. I know that so far nothing's been turned off. And that's it. I gotta take Omer out. Bye. You know what I mean, people? We're not talking about my mom just having her monthly Social Security and pension. We're talking about the money in the bank, which was at first like 28,000, then like say 29,000, and her
what she gets every month is more than enough to live on, and she has the backup 401k. So they're not poor. Auntie's not poor, my mom's not poor, I'm poor. Okay? And I was doing everything in my power to try to help my mom. My lawyer knows it, people around here know it, certain people, her primary care physician knows it. Okay? They know it's not fake when I'm sitting here crying my eyes out at the idea of her becoming a ward of the state. Am I giving one flying fuck about any money I might get? Nothing. The assisted living. Sell off the house, the 401k, everything. Give me a small amount of money to start a new life with Omar, and my mom goes into assisted living, but she was never going to do that either. And that night, when she stayed up all night, I just casually said, because I'm thinking, oh fuck, she's acting difficult again, is this going to be blah blah blah. I didn't know I'd be calling 911 the next day. I thought she would get up and go to her dentist, but she didn't do it. I just casually mentioned, I said, just so you know, I didn't have her come, but the lawyer had suggested, maybe, because my mom didn't want Angel anymore. She gave Angel back to Leslie, not permanent, but she's just like, and I'm thinking, well, I thought she would balk at going into assisted living because she can't have her dog, but now she doesn't even care about her dog, so maybe I just said it casually, before, when you were telling me you hated me or whatnot, the lawyer had suggested assisted living. Is that anything you'd be interested in? And she's like, no, so nothing was going to happen, assisted living, nothing with her blessing, so you'd have to become her guardian and force her to do it, so, I'm just saying. But then she gets to be sitting there hating me and knowing that, and who knows what Auntie said to poison her against me, and then she's hating me because I called 911, and then she's hating me because I suggested assisted living, and when she revoked the release, I cried out to Auntie that she's going to wind up a ward of the state or whatnot because she's rejecting the family and all this crap, and then Auntie swooped in. Auntie was just, that's what I say, set me up to take the fall, swoop in to save the day. And I don't deserve any of this. I really don't. So nothing's been turned off so far. So Auntie's either had a change of heart or watched my videos or talked to my attorney and he advised her of whatever. Maybe because you're dealing with this situation, he knows what my mom wanted to do for me. I have people who know what my mom wanted to do for me. I'm disabled, All of those factors come into play. All of it. All of that factors in to this whole shit. No, I haven't gotten the mail. I don't want to get the mail. I haven't listened to my message, and I don't know if my attorney called me. I'm hoping Auntie just leaves me alone. But I don't know what's happening with my mother. It's a given she cannot live alone, okay? And despite what the neighbor was saying, I'm like, that's not going to happen. Auntie's whole big thing is that I'm abusive towards my mother. She's not going to let my mom, regardless if Auntie's the conservative guardianship, she's not going to let my mom come back here. He used to say that. He's like, that's what's going to happen. She's not going to be able to take care of your mom over this. She's going to just have your mom. That ain't flying. That's not going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. That's why I was all agitated. And he's like, but you're not going to know what Auntie's up to. Why are you working yourself into a frenzy? There's nothing you could do about what's happened. Working yourself into. She's like, why don't you go get drunk? Why don't you go find a boyfriend and fall in love? I'm not capable of falling in love, and I'm a basket case. I can't find any boyfriend. Oh, he brought up remember I had the falling out with him because I had told him in a letter about that I was going to go meet that fetish photographer, and he didn't. I'd said that, just in case something happens to me. Not that I think anything's going to happen to me, because they always say if you meet somebody, a stranger, you should tell somebody. But he didn't like that, didn't like being involved, and we had that falling out where he's like, I was going to call the. I'm like, you can't call the police based on because you think something might happen. That's ridiculous. That's like life doesn't work that way. But he brought that up.
when he took me to the grocery store, he's like, what's going on with that? He's like, you didn't call that fed, you didn't meet him, did you? I'm thinking, I'm like, why are you even bringing this up? I'm like, that's water under the bridge. You know, I didn't wind up meeting him. He got into a car accident and couldn't meet me. He's like, yeah, I looked him up. He's bad. I'm like, I said, you know, appearances can be deceiving, and I've talked to him on the phone for a long time. He's sweet, but he's not gonna, you know, it's that world. People are afraid of that world. And just like anything in life, in the fetish world, you know, most people in that world are harmless. They're not going to hurt anybody. Anyway, I basically just got him to, I'm like, okay, that's water on the bridge, we're not going to discuss it, you know. We made up. You know, your wife told me you weren't upset with me, and that because she wondered why I wasn't coming around. She told her that you scared her, talking about calling the police or whatnot. So we made up. So don't bring it up. You're going away. It's none of your business if I decide to go meet him. It wasn't your business to begin with. I wasn't gonna ever say it. He brought it up. So I didn't like that, but he's just concerned. Well, you're going away for months and months and months, and now I don't have that support system. So I decided to go meet that guy. It's not your business, not your business anyway. I was surprised he brought that up, because that's a bad, you know, that's something bad between us. Why bring up something negative? But he did. He brought it up. I suppose before he goes away, because he's concerned about me. Maybe I've been crying to him for months about my mom. In public a lot of times. That's when I see him, when he walks his dog and I walk mine. But I'm thinking, why are you bringing this up? He's doing it. He's probably hoped I would say, no, I promise I will never meet him. But I didn't say that because I can't make that promise. You know? Just like when Joe and I were broken up, and my mom said to me, will you promise me you won't? It's one thing you have a boyfriend, will you promise